Well, I may have only seen this film one time, but I figured since I have remembered seeing this on Tubi recently, last year I believe it was, but I just said, what the hey, I'll review this film even though I've only seen it once. So prepare yourselves as I review Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. Big Days, Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1993 action flick Hard Target, released by Universal, directed by Hong Kong film director John Woo in his US debut, before he directed films like Broken Arrow, Face Off, and Mission Impossible 2. The film stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as an out-of-work homeless Cajun merchant seaman and former U.S. Force Recon Marine who saves a young woman from from a gang of thugs in New Orleans and learns that the young woman is searching for a missing father and agrees to aid her in her search. Anyway, the screenplay was written by Chuck Farrar and is based on the 1932 film adaptation of Richard Cannell's 1924 short The story known as The Most Dangerous Game. Of course, this was the first major Hollywood film made by a Chinese director. Now, they were nervous about having Wu direct this, and since Sam Raimi, who had recently worked on Darkman a few years before this, to look over the film's production and to take Wu's place if he were to fail. But he managed to get through after he went through several scripts and finding mostly martial arts films with which he was not interested. But after deciding on the script, he wanted to have Kurt Russell in the lead role, but found him too busy with other projects. So he then went Universal's initial choice of having Van Damme star. He got along with him during filming and raised the amount of action in the film as he knew that the actor was up for it. It got mixed reviews and what have you, but let's just go on ahead and get into our story. In New Orleans, a homeless U.S. Force Recon Marine and a Vietnam War veteran named Douglas Binder is the target of a hunt. He is given a belt containing $10,000 and told that he must reach the other side of the town to win the money and his life. Pursuing him is the hunt organizer and wealthy sportsman Emile Fouchon. His lead right-hand mercenary Pic Van Cleef and businessman named Mr. Lepaki, Fouchon's client, who has paid $500,000 for the opportunity to hunt a human, and assassins including Stefan and Pearson. Binder fails to reach his destination and is killed by 3 crossbow bolts. Van Cleef retrieves the money belt. While searching for her father, Binder's estranged daughter, Natasha, is attacked by a group of muggers who saw that she had a lot of cash earlier and attempted to rape her. She is saved by a homeless man with exceptional martial arts skills named Chance Butler. A former Force Recon Marine and a sailor now currently out of work, Baudreau is initially hesitant to involve himself in her mission, but as his merchant seaman union dues are in arrears, he reluctantly allows Natasha to hire him as her guide and bodyguard during her search. Unfortunately, the search goes slowly as the city's police force is on strike, making the hunter's livelihood easier to conduct. Natasha discovers that her father distributed flyers for a seedy recruiter named Randall Poe, who has been secretly supplying Fouchon with homeless men with war experience and no family ties. Natasha questions Randall about her father's death, but they are discovered by an eavesdropping Van Cleef. Fouchon and Van Cleef beat Poe and cut his ear as a punishment for sending them a man with a daughter. Ouch! New Orleans police detective Marie Mae Mitchell is reluctant to investigate Binder's disappearance until his charred body is discovered in the ashes of a derelict building. Derelict, sorry. The death is deemed an accident, but Bolero searches the ruins and finds Binder's other matching dog tag, as they always are given pairs, which was pierced by one of the crossbow bolts. Van Cleef's henchmen suddenly ambush Bolero and beat him unconscious to scare him and Natasha out of town. When he recovers, he offers Mitchell the dog tag as evidence that Binder was murdered. With the investigation getting closer, Van Cleef and Fauchon decide to relocate their hunting business and begin eliminating loose ends. The medical examiner, who has been hiding the evidence of the hunt, is killed along with Poe. Meanwhile, Bolero's friend Elijah Roper, who is also homeless and a former U.S. Force Recon Marine, is the next to participate in Fauchon's hunt and also ends up dead. Mitchell, Natasha, and Bolero arrive moments later at Randall's car and are ambushed by Van Cleef and several of his men. During the shootout, Mitchell is shot in the chest and dies. Bolero kills a handful of the mercenaries and escapes with Natasha. Fauchon and Van Cleef assemble their mercenary team and 5 hired hunters to continue the chase. Now for the ending, you know the procedure. 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below. Fast forward to the time below. Continue it if you've seen the movie already. Okay, you've been warned. Bolero leads Natasha to his uncle Clarence Dovey's house deep in the bayou and enlists his help to defeat the men. Bolero, Natasha, and Dovey lead the hunting party to the Mardi Gras graveyard, a warehouse of old damaged Mardi Gras floats and statues, and kill off Fauchon's men one by one. Van Cleef is finally gunned down by Bolero in a shootout. In the end, only Fauchon is left, but he holds Bolero at bay by taking Natasha hostage and stabbing Dovey in the chest with his arrow. Bolero charges him, attacking with a flurry of blows, and then drops a grenade in his pants. Fauchon attempts in vain to dismantle the grenade, but gets incinerated in the explosion. Mhm. It turns out that Dovey is still alive, as the arrow Fauchon used only hit Dovey's whiskey flask. Bolero, Natasha, and Dovey make their way out of the warehouse. End of story. So, what did I think of Hard Target? Though I've only seen it once, I thought it was pretty awesome. This is a very good film with Van Damme. After I watched my friend, the Diglers, Jean-Claude Van Damme's ranking and what have you of his favorite movies of his, I must say, after watching Hard Target, I think it was awesome. I watched this when I did a little marathon, which I watched along with some other films I watched for the first time, like Death Warrant. That was really good. I definitely should review that. Universal Soldier, and well, I've seen others of his like Street Fighter. I definitely got to review that, and Double Impact, but I've already reviewed that one. That's the only film of his I've reviewed until this one. Let's see. Oh, what was the other one? Well, let me see here. Sudden Death. That's it. Yeah, and Universal Soldier: The Return. I saw that as well. But I definitely got to see some more of his films. I might think of looking at more of his films. Maybe Bloodsport or Lionheart. Yeah, definitely should check those out. And maybe Time Cop. But anyway, back to Hard Target. I thought this film was so awesome. It was really intense in parts and action packed. I really did enjoy this. Now, when the film came out, it lost to The Fugitive and Undercover Blues when it opened at the box office. But nevertheless, it still did pretty well. It went on to make 74 million worldwide. Now, The reviews for the film were mixed in my view. The New York Times said it's whooshingly, lovingly photographed weaponry, nasty gurgles from the wounded, the clunking sound of a head hitting wrought iron, a bullet in the eye. These are the cornerstones of the film. One of this summer's new super bloodthirsty action films, and the one that actually stood a chance of rising above its genre. Roger Ebert stated on his show with Gene Siskel, they stated the film is not very smart and it's not very original, but it is well made on a technical level. The stunts are impressive as an action picture. It's well made, but it never becomes more than competent action, and I just can't recommend it for that. Siskel wasn't even impressed with it here. He said John Woo is a good filmmaker. Van Damme is pretty wooden. You notice the style in the film because there is not much substance. But hey, that's understandable and what have you. But nevertheless, I thought this film was pretty darn awesome. The film holds at fresh barely by a thread at 60%, saying that the film gets a boost from John Woo's stylish direction, but at heart it's still another silly explosion dependent action thriller in the Jean-Claude Van Damme over. Sorry if I mispronounced that word. But anyway, yeah. Even so, I think this was pretty good. John Woo did a pretty good job with the direction as well. Its score was done by Graham Revell along with Tim Samanek, and it was pretty good. Now, after it got filmed in New Orleans for 65 days, well, Wu had trouble with the MPA to secure the R rating that Universal wanted. He made dozens of cuts to the film until the MPA gave it the R rating. And the film, and while it met with mixed reviews from film critics, but it was still a big success. And the film later gained a strong cult following, especially for the action scenes, establishing the film as a cult classic. Some critics know it as one of Wu's best American films. 23 years later, there will be a direct-to-video sequel, but I've never seen it though. But I have seen it on shown on streaming services though. This film was released on August 20th, 1993. Henceforth, today is the film's 30th anniversary. Almost forgot that. Now for our cast, Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's awesome as Chance Baudreau. He's definitely really good. Lance Henriksen plays Fushan, and I gotta say he was good too. Arnold Vosloo, who would later take on the titular role in the Darkman's sequels, as well as appear in The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, played Van Cleef. Very good character. Yancy Butler played Natasha Binder. She's good. Casey Lemons plays Detective Maria Mitchell. And Chuck Ferrer played Douglas Binder. That's right, the writer of the film appeared in this. So anyway, yeah. And Wilford Brimley plays Chance's uncle. Yeah, I seem to know who that guy is. Yes, I've seen him in The Thing. And he's also appeared in numerous Quaker Oats Company commercials as well. So anyway, I think the cast was really good. But anyway, Hard Target was so awesome and action-packed. I really enjoyed it. But everything I've said about its story, which was good, the action sequences and stunts were awesome. The music wasn't too bad. The cast was really good. Would I recommend Hard Target? I'd say hell yeah, definitely. Yeah, but only maybe if you want to play it safe, you could give it a one-time watch. So it's sort of a draw between hell yeah and give it a one-time watch. If you are a hardcore Van Damme fan, okay? So what did you think of Hard Target? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a review of Blade with Wesley Snipes, another film that's got an anniversary coming up. So I do hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, you may want to check out my reviews for these other films. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of another John Woo film, that's Mission Impossible 2 from 2000. In the upper right-hand corner is my review of the only Van Damme flick I've reviewed until just now, and that would be Double Impact from 1991. Or if you would like a little bit more action, but with a female lead, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of the new Gal Gadot film, now streaming on Netflix, Heart of Stone. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.